Welcome to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Karen and Kevin Christ. So, we want to talk about something that we've been getting a lot of questions on gold and silver lately. And there's been a lot of scare about, the dollar. Is the dollar going away? Is the China yuan going to be the new world currency? And so what's happening is
the BRICS nations.
Yeah, what's the BRIC? Tell them that I know what it is, but you say, what's the BRICS? And did India leave? Did India really leave?
I heard that they left, but then they had another meeting. So it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and now they're trying to get some of the Middle East countries in. But basically, they're all coming together because they want to have another currency besides the U.S. dollar.
Which they're calling the petrodollar, that is tied to oil and so on. And so they're not digging that too much. They want to have like the Chinese yuan, or they want to do their own thing and make the U.S. dollar not the world currency anymore. And so because we're really the only ones that can just print currency whenever we want. And, we just got back from the Bahamas, and nobody, the Bahamian dollar is the same, it's 1 to 1. So, but Bahamian dollar is worth a U.S. dollar, right? Nobody ever asked us if we had any Bahamian dollars.
No.
We go scuba diving down to Mexico. We go to Cozumel and Cancun. Nobody asks us if we have pesos.
They prefer to get paid in dollars.
Yeah, right. And guess what? We go to Ecuador on mission trip. What's the currency in Ecuador?
It's the same.
It's the U.S. dollar.
It's the U.S. dollar.
And so, people say, well, are they going to what's going to happen? Are we going to look, there's more U.S. dollars floating around than all those BRIC countries' currency combined.
The news is that China and Russia China in particular, have been buying up gold like crazy.
And that is our topic, right? So, if you ask the regular stockbroker or a lot of financial advisors, they'll just say, no, you don't want that because it has the volatility of a stock, but it grows like a treasury note, right? It says over time, you can have spurts where like gold, I remember back in the 80s, the gold just shot up. But then we had a guy that went, that we knew that went out and put all his money in gold, and then gold went back down, and it was a bad scene.
In general, gold works the opposite of the stock market.
That's a really good point. And so right now, to prove that point, right now, gold and silver is kind of shot up. But this year, who would have thought in the beginning of this year that the market would be doing what it's doing?
Right.
So as a result, since gold and silver run contra to the stock market, and the stock market is up this year, the gold is down, right? So people are going, well, what happened? I bought this gold, and we're having all these inflation and scares of recession and all this stuff about digital currency and Chinese yuan and all this stuff, right? Why is the gold going down? Because, like Karen said, it does what?
It works inverse or opposite of the stock market. And what drives me a little crazy, Kevin, is when you see commercials and they pop up all over the place on social media, even on television. I almost know instantly if it's an advertisement for gold or silver, because the first couple of sentences, they just want to scare the bejeebers out of you. It's like, oh, it's a crime. I mean,
it's almost always.
I hate it because most of the time when you hear someone talk about the benefits of gold and silver, it's because they've just tried to scare you into buying it, and they totally miss the reason why you should have gold and silver.
That's good. That's really good, Karen.
It's wealth insurance.
Elaborate. What's wealth insurance?
So, gold and silver. Let's just say it took a bar of gold to buy a Mustang, 30 years ago. Well, if you want, Oh,
You mean a car or a horse?
a car. Sorry. I was
Okay.
like, and then I got to pick a car that's still actually sold. How about a Corvette?
No,
Okay.
Mustangs are still sold.
Okay, good.
Lots of them.
All right. So you want to buy a souped up, tricked out Mustang 30 years ago, and it took a whole bar of gold. Well, if you wanted to buy that Mustang today, it would still basically take the same weight and bar of gold. That's what we mean by wealth insurance. But you don't buy it because you want to buy it 1 year and then you want to sell it, a couple of years later. You don't really trade in gold and silver, okay? It's a long-term investment. It is meant for wealth insurance. And, the experts that we talk to say you really shouldn't have more than 10 to 15% of your money in gold or silver. And, do you buy gold or do you buy silver or do you get a mix of that? Well, it's really going to depend on what's going on with the economy. The past 4 or 5 years, silver has been the way to go because silver is used in a lot of manufacturing. But right now, because of the inflation, because of BRICS, because of the feds pumping too much, printing too much money, now our experts are saying, yeah, you should lean a little bit more towards gold. But, Kevin, we've been doing this for a while, and there is a difference in buying gold and silver. You got to be careful. Those TV ads, the commission is sky high. You are going to lose a good chunk of your money right off the bat when you call one of them and place an order. Who cares if they're giving you a free silver dollar when they're going to charge you insane commissions? They should be giving you a bag of free silver. Yeah. Okay, with the commission they're paying. And not to mention
what they're getting.
Yeah, what they're getting. So, and then you've got like the polar bear coin and the Canadian eagle coin. And
the Canadian, those are the maple leaves. Those are good ones.
Right. So certain gold coins are good to buy. Others are not
as good, right? So let me.
Would your aunt leave you?
Let me clarify. That was where I was going. Okay, so there's also some ads. You got to be careful, and it's almost as if they know that there's little old ladies or little old men, right? It's not just the ladies that are watching, whatever, CNN, Fox Business News, or whatever, and you got these companies that are, you remember the North and South chess set, right? Mm-hmm. And stuff from the Franklin Mint.
Oh, yeah.
Their younger listeners probably don't know what I'm talking about, but they're collector's type deals. And they'll say 14 karat gold, what do they call it? Coated, or I forget the word they use, but it's not solid gold. And
coated,
they trick you.
Sure it is, or dipped, or
dipped in, coated, 14 karat gold,
okay.
And a special minted edition of George Washington, and next week you can get Thomas Jefferson, and then you can get Alexander Hamilton. It's wonderful. So, right here.
What you really wanted? Oh,
so
resale matters. That's what you're trying to say. Resale matters.
Well, some of it is just plain worthless.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're sitting there, and these poor people they're saying 3 easy payments of $99.99 or something like that, and they pay the $99.99 3 times in a row, only to find out that it's just some gold-dipped collector item thing that has no real value.
Right.
So you got to be careful. Well, the other thing is that you mentioned that is good is that some of these companies that you see a lot, and I won't mention any names, but that you've seen a lot of their ads, what's in your safe, call now. Some of those commissions are as high as 30 or 40%. So if you give them $100,000, you may only get $70,000 worth of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing, what about coins, Karen? What about the post 1933 compared to pre 1933? Tell us about that.
Well, we happen to like the pre-1933 coins because they're not tracked. Once the government decided to conscript gold, meaning they went and knocked on everyone's doors, no kidding, and took all of your gold and silver. That was conscription. And that happened in the 30s. So there's
a fancy word for they came
stealing.
And got it.
They stole it.
They stole it.
So
Yeah.
the law came that once any gold that was part of that confiscation, they could not do it again. And therefore, these pre-1933 coins, they do not have to be tracked. They don't have to be reported to the government. And what makes that really nice is A, the government doesn't know about it, and B, if you make a great earnings on it, that gain is not reported either.
You know, and even, Karen, we've had some people that have taken some of their IRA money, paid some of the tax that you're going to have to pay sooner or later anyway, and bought these gold coins, which is not a transaction recorded by the IRS. So anyway, you can do that. And if you want to do that, just hit us at the kpcsmartmoney.com, or you can go to kpcfinancialsolutions.com if you want some more information for that. We don't want you to, cash in your whole brokerage account and buy gold, but it's good to have maybe 10 to 15% of your net worth in those coins because they're going to be worth a lot someday. So that's all we got to say. We'll be back next week at the KPC Money podcast.
You've been listening to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Christ. To listen to more episodes, visit kpcsmartmoney.com. You can also find the KPC Smart Money Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher.
KPC Financial Solutions is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through KPC Financial Solutions, LLC, a registered investment company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any reference to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. KPC Financial Solutions is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by KPC Financial Solutions. Hypothetical examples have been provided for illustrative purposes only. It does not represent a real-life scenario and should not be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation.